Good morning, everyone, or good soon to be good afternoon. We will get started shortly. I'm just going to wait about another minute or so to let everyone jump on. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cindy Nellis. I'm here with the Penn West Clarion Small Business Development Center, and we welcome you to our webinar, Getting Started with MyPath. Today, we will be discussing how to get started with this new self-service portal from the Department of Revenue. We will cover what type of profile users should be creating, as well as how to successfully register, gain access to both personal and business related accounts, and explain what features are available through the portal, both as a logged in user or a non-logged in user. Before we get started, I do want to say today's webinar is part one of a four-part series. The Pennsylvania SBDC is partnering with the Department of Revenue to bring these topics to you. And so after today, you will get this flyer, so you'll be able to register for upcoming webinars over the next couple of months. As a reminder, you're also going to be getting all the slides that you see and a recording to today's webinar. All right. So if you have questions as we go along today and you want to ask the experts from the Department of Revenue, please use the Q&A feature. If you have a question for me, your host, I just ask that you use the chat feature. That would be great. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to the Pennsylvania Small Business Development Center Network. We are a network that has a mission to help businesses start, grow, and prosper. We are a grant-funded program, and we provide specifically education, information, and tools to help businesses make better business decisions. We do this through our one-on-one business consulting services and our training. Please note that our business consulting services are provided at no charge, and they're confidential. We work with small businesses, but to us, we define a small business as generally with businesses with less than 500 employees. And of course, we work with those looking to start a business. We also do offer many different types of training events, and we will direct you to our statewide website, pasbdc.org. That will provide you with a complete list of all of the different webinars and training seminars that are available to all of you. The Small Business Development Center, we are also here to provide you with information to many of the questions that you have at whatever stage of business you are at. We have a lot of great resources that we've collected through the last 40 years that we've been in existence, and we have a vast network that we draw on to provide help and assistance and resources to you. We also work on many referrals to us, as well as referrals out to our many stakeholders. Just to give you an idea of our statewide network, we are a network of 15 centers, all located at institutions of higher education. And so take a look at where you're located and reach out to that specific SBDC. With that, I do want to say that there's no wrong door. I will be giving you my contact information, and if you'd like to connect with me, I will get you connected with the SBDC in your area. Our program is funded through state and federal tax dollars, and that's how we are able to provide our services at no cost. We are supported by our host institutions. So mine is Penn West Clarion. Our federal funding comes through the Small Business Administration, and our state funding comes through the Department of Community and Economic Development through a line item called PREP, Partnership for Regional Economic Performance. This is how you connect with us. Again, you can connect through our statewide website, the paspdc.ecenterdirect.com/signup. Check out our information at either our website or our paspdc.org website. And again, feel free to connect with us. Here is my center's website and my phone number and my email address. So that's all about the SBDC and how to connect with us after today. Right now, I'd like to turn it over to our speaker, Alicia Gaunce. Alicia has over 12 years of experience working for the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. She currently works as the Chief of the Customer Outreach, Relations, and Engagement Division within the Customer Experience Center. She's responsible for developing relationships with external stakeholders and coordinating any outreach and education initiatives provided by the department. Alicia began her career as a tax account collections technician, working in the Collections and Taxpayer Services call center, and then moving into various roles throughout collections and customer service. Her work experience has provided her with a vast knowledge of PA tax administration and the inner workings of the department, which she uses to provide positive experiences for the department's customers and stakeholders. Alicia's been great to work with. We're excited to have her today, and I will turn it over to her. Thanks, Alicia.
Thanks so much, Cindy. Let me just make sure I can share my screen real quick.
Looks great.
All right, fantastic. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. As Cindy mentioned, my name is Alicia Gaunce, and I am the Chief of our Customer Outreach, Relations, and Engagement Division within the Customer Experience Center here at the Department of Revenue. In simpler terms, my area does handle the outreach and education efforts provided by the department. If you've attended any of these presentations before, you probably have seen me or at least seen my name at some point throughout the presentation. Today's module is designed to help you all understand how to get started with MyPath, which is our new customer service portal. Additionally, I'm going to talk you through some of the common self-service options that are available through our portal. So this slide here shows you our agenda for today. We're going to do a real quick overview of our modernization project. I'm going to explain to you what the logged in functions are or what's out there for you to do without creating a user profile. Then we're going to talk through some additional functions that are available if you do set up your profile, which means you're creating a username and password to log in. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up with some resources should you have any questions about using MyPath after today's presentation. All right, so overview of modernization. For those of you who don't know, Pennsylvania Department of Revenue completed a tax system modernization project over the past few years. So this project itself was broken into 5 rollouts. The ultimate goal was to have a single tax system to seamlessly administer Pennsylvania tax accounts. In addition, we wanted a single place for our customers to access their tax accounts and perform self-service options. So prior to this project, we had several standalone systems within the department. And then we also had our PIT, or Personal Income Tax e-Services portal, as well as eTides, which was kind of our business tax customer service portal. We did unfortunately have some issues sometimes with those systems talking to each other or, exchanging the information the way that it should. So again, our goal was to have an integrated tax system to where we could kind of maneuver through all of the tax accounts and not have those types of issues. So this slide here shows the way that we went through a modernization project. These are the first 4 rollouts. You can see that rollout 1 went live in January of 2019 with the implementation of motor and alternative fuel taxes and the International Fuel Tax Agreement, or IFTA tax. We wanted to keep our first rollout pretty small, so that way we could just kind of get our feet wet and build into those bigger taxes and kind of work through those kinks before we had any serious issues. Rollout 2 went live in October of 2019 with the implementation of realty transfer tax, inheritance tax, medical marijuana tax, and a case management solution for our voluntary disclosure program. Rollout 3 was definitely one of our biggest rollouts. So that went live in November of 2020 with the implementation of personal income tax and related pass-through entity processing, in addition to our property tax rent rebate program. So if you are a brand new business, there is a small chance that you may have used MyPath before for your personal income tax accounts. Rollout 4 went live in August of 2021, and it included the implementation of 6 tax programs, all of which had their own standalone systems previously. So that was our cigarette non-participating manufacturer, cigarette stamp tax, including the fire safe certification, tavern games, pari-mutuel wagering tax, and then 2 specialty corporate taxes, which are the agricultural cooperative tax and the electric cooperative tax. Finally, rollout 5, which was our last rollout, happened on November 30th of 2022. So our most recent rollout, and probably the rollout that impacted this audience the most. It encompassed our business taxes, including employer withholding tax, sales tax, corporation taxes, and then any remaining miscellaneous taxes that were out there. So I do think there were about 40 taxes that were included as part of this rollout. And just as a side note, I'm seeing there was a question that came in through the chat. I do have some coworkers on the line to help answer those questions, so feel free to put them out there. And if it is something that I feel like we need to address out loud, we'll make sure that we get to that at the end here. So this slide here shows us the eTides replacement timeline. If you were a business that was established prior to a rollout 5, you would have used our system, which was called eTides. All of the eTides functionality was slowly transitioned into MyPath. This means that customers who were using the services offered through eTides, such as filing returns and making payments, had to begin using MyPath to complete the tasks and manage their accounts. The Department of Revenue was sending out email notifications directly to those eTides users to kind of prepare them for the transition and let them know what they needed to do in order to, get their accounts over to the new system. We also published information on our website regarding the transition for business taxpayers, and we included information in our communications. So if you look at the slide here, I debated removing this because at this point, eTides has been completely discontinued, but I did want you to kind of see the way things happened, and you can see that view filing history remained until August 31st of 2023. So you were able to still log into eTides and kind of reconcile your accounts or look at what was out there until August, but at this point, it is fully shut down. So again, this only affects those folks who were in business and were using eTides already. If you're a brand new entity or you've never used eTides, just disregard everything I'm saying right now because I don't want to confuse anyone. In addition, we made a few other enhancements with Rollout 5. So if you created a MyPath profile for your personal income tax account after Rollout 3, you may have run into some obstacles with the access requirements. With Rollout 5, we tried to make gaining access a little bit easier for all of our customers. First and foremost, we tried to eliminate the need for an access letter wherever possible. So previously, every single MyPath user had to request an access letter, wait for it to come in the mail before they could finish setting up their user profile. This caused a lot of pain for a lot of people because they either didn't get the letter, maybe they got it and they tossed it, or they were in a hurry to get returns filed and they weren't able to access their MyPath accounts the way they wanted to. So again, we tried to eliminate that need where possible. Now, in order to gain access to your tax accounts in MyPath, you would create your user profile by selecting the sign up link on the MyPath homepage. And then you'd be prompted to provide your ID number, which is either your FEIN, SSN, or Path ID. You would also enter the type of tax that you wish to gain access to, and you would have to validate that tax account in some form. So that would be a recent payment amount for the specified tax type, a return line item, a path letter ID, or confirmation code. So again, when you're creating that criteria that you need to, in many cases, you can avoid waiting for that access letter. If you are not able to validate, so you'll see in this yellow callout box, if you are not able to provide the items above, there is an option to request an access letter. In this case, you would have to wait for that access letter to be mailed to you in order to finish setting up your profile. Also, if there is FTI or federal tax information on the customer's account, you must request the access letter and wait to receive that in order to gain access. Unfortunately, that is an agreement that we have with the federal government. And it normally applies to personal income tax, sometimes corporate tax accounts, but anywhere that we're getting a data feed from the Internal Revenue Service, that we may be using that information and putting that on the tax account. Another enhancement that was made is that customers no longer have to create a profile in order for a third party to get access. So if you are a new business and you have an accountant who takes care of all of your taxes, they plan to file and pay on your behalf, you don't have to do anything. You do not have to set up a MyPath profile in order for them to go in and request access to your tax accounts. That's new. Previously, every single user had to create a profile to give their accountant access. So we tried to make that easier for not just individuals, but third parties as well. The next thing the department did was reduce the number of taxes supported by the Telefile system. So Telefile itself is a toll-free service that allows taxpayers to file their returns and make payments over the phone. This was primarily used by customers who do not have access to the internet, whether that be for religious reasons or because they live in an area where the service is not provided, or internet service is not provided. We made these changes because the department decided to remove some of those options that had a very low usage rate. So we definitely looked at the statistics across the board as far as who's using MyPath, what tax types are they, or I'm sorry, Telefile, what tax types are they using Telefile for? And then those really low usage ones, we've discontinued them. Some of the more frequent functionality does still exist, such as filing and paying sales tax, PTA tax, or employer withholding. Additionally, you can pay on corporate net income tax and make payments using a notice ID. I will warn you, originally the department was planning to sunset Telefile at the end of the year, but we've decided to keep it around for those folks who do have a religious or technical reason to continue using the service. There will be a Telefile request form that has to be completed in order to continue using the service. So if you don't fall into one of the categories that I mentioned, I strongly recommend that you familiarize yourself with MyPath as soon as possible. I also mentioned that business registration changed as part of Rollout 5. So Pennsylvania businesses that needed to register for their business tax accounts have a new online system to complete that registration process. This means that MyPath has replaced the old PA 100. So customers need to use the new platform going forward. The new MyPath registration includes registration for all tax types that were included in the previous PA 100 application. It also includes the ability to register for corporate net income tax accounts, corporation specialty taxes, and other withholding taxes, which is new. You can view a full list by clicking on the link to the Pennsylvania Online Business Tax Registration from the MyPath homepage. Please be aware that you do still need to contact the Department of State if you are registering for a corporation to secure a corporate name clearance. and register for corporation tax purposes. Additionally, PA Department of Revenue and PA Department of Labor and Industry do share the application, but unemployment compensation must still be paid to the Department of Labor and Industry. Real quick, I do see a question that came in. It says, I use Telefile to pay for my sales tax because I couldn't create an account on eTides. My former accountant used to pay my taxes. When I switched accountants, every time I tried to create an account with my information, the system would tell me account was already in place. Will I be able to create a new account in MyPath? You should absolutely be able to create a new account in MyPath. Again, as long as you can validate the appropriate information, you shouldn't have any issues. And I'm going to talk through actually creating that user profile as part of this presentation. All right, so real quick, let's talk about some non-logged in functions. When we refer to non-logged in functions, we are referring to things that you can do through MyPath without creating a username and password. So the URL to get to MyPath is mypath.pa.gov, and it'll bring you directly to the MyPath homepage, which is going to look like what you see on the screen here. You see all these panels that are broken down by topic, and pretty much any hyperlink that you see within those panels is something that you can do without creating a username and password. So I'm going to walk through each of those panels real quick just to highlight some different things here. The first panel is the payments panel. So from the payments panel, you can make a payment, which is estimated, extension, and voucher payments. You can pay your bill. So if you received a bill from the Department of Revenue, you'll have a letter ID. You can go right in there and pay your bill. It'll get posted directly to your account. You can make a bank attachment payment, make a wage garnishment payment. Additionally, you have the option to track your payments and credits. So if you do make estimated tax payments, we always recommend that you go out and you use this feature to kind of see what you have out there as far as that's concerned. And then we have a new feature, which is setting up a payment plan. Setting up a payment plan is one of those items that when you click on it, it's going to prompt you to log in, just because when we set up a payment plan, we set it up for all liabilities that you have with the department. So it does have to look at your specific account to set you up on that payment plan. But it is out there and it is pretty user-friendly. And we also have some Revenue 411 videos out there or instructional videos that will walk you through that if it is something you're interested in. The next panel is the returns panel. So here you'll see filing a personal income tax return. The next two options are actually filing the personal income tax return in Spanish. There is how to file business tax returns. So we'll warn you that a lot of the business tax functionality is logged in. You had to log into eTides for that. So they kept the same mentality with MyPath. You do have to log in to perform a lot of your business tax transactions. Filing a use tax return can be done directly from this panel, or you can verify your 1099-G or 1099-I and T amounts. If you are a non-resident of Pennsylvania or a first-time filer, unfortunately, you will not be able to file your first return through MyPath. You do have to have an existing tax account in our tax system, which we call PATH, in order to be able to use MyPath. The next panel is the registration panel. So this is kind of what I was just talking about. The first hyperlink is the Pennsylvania Online Business Tax Registration. Again, you use that to register for your business tax accounts and licenses. It did replace the online PA 100 application. And you can register for business taxes or motor fuels. It is a separate link though. The next link here is what is the status of my registration. So if you have completed the Pennsylvania Online Business Tax Registration, you'll get a confirmation number. You can go in and check the status of your registration at any time. The next link is brand new. Brand new, just went live. So nonprofit sales tax exemption application is for those REV 72 application for sales tax exemption forms. You can now do that directly through MyPath. And the very last link is checking the status of that. So not to be confused with the REV 1220, but the REV 72 can be completed that way. Our next panel here is the rebates panel. So this is where you would go to apply for a property tax or rent rebate. I'm not sure that that really appeals to this audience here, but if you are somebody who generally does apply for a property tax rent rebate, this is the fastest and most effective way to get a rebate from the Department of Revenue. So strongly encourage that you use that feature if it does apply to you. Where is my rebate? Again, checking the status of that rebate application. The refunds panel, where's my refund? So as long as you have your tax year, refund amount, and social security number of the primary taxpayer, you can go in and check the status of your refund through where's my rebate, where's my refund as well. The next panel here is our identity verification panel. So the Department of Revenue does have some kind of safeguards in process if we have a red flag on a taxpayer's account. It's our way of kind of protecting a taxpayer account. This is a standard process. So if you do get an identity verification letter, you don't have to be concerned that your account is compromised. Just if you fall within certain criteria, we're going to automatically send out a letter that's either asking you to take an identity verification quiz or enter an identity verification code into MyPath. So both of those transactions can be completed right from the MyPath homepage without creating a user ID or password. The next panel is our additional services panel. So on the additional services panel, we have respond to a letter. This is probably the most important link on the MyPath homepage. If you've received a letter from the Department of Revenue requesting additional information, we strongly encourage you to use the respond to a letter link. It'll ask for your letter ID. You can upload the documents, but it'll post it right to your account. So we strongly encourage you to use respond to a letter. The only exception is if you receive an assessment notice from the department. Those unfortunately do have to be petitioned right to the Board of Appeals. Find a submission lets you go in and track anything that you have submitted through MyPath, with the exception of those responses to your letters. So if you submitted a payment, you have the confirmation code, you can go out and check or find that submission. If you started filing a personal income tax return and then you saved it, you want to go back and finish it later, you can go into the find a submission feature and finish that out. Tax due dates takes you right to our tax due date guide. You can download Forms W2G. You can use the penalty and interest calculator that kind of operates the same way as the old penalty and interest calculator. And then finally, there's Track My Inheritance Tax Return. So again, I don't know how many people on this call care about inheritance tax, but unfortunately, those returns still have to be filed with the Register of Wills. There's not a lot of inheritance tax functionality in MyPath. But once it has been filed with the Register of Wills and uploaded to the system, you can track the status of that return through MyPath. I do apologize if you guys can hear there's fire trucks going by right now, so I'm just gonna pause for a second here. Okay. And as a side note, I see some questions coming in through the actual chat, and then there's some questions that are coming in through the Q&A. If you don't mind using the actual Q&A for the questions, it would be easier for us to keep track of. It would be much appreciated. It looks like Rachel and Steph are doing a great job at answering both of them. The next panel we have out there is our tax compliance panel. So the tax compliance panel allows you to pay off a lien. So if you do find that you have a lien filed against you from the department, you can go out there and search your lien. You can pay it off right through MyPath, or you can request a lien payoff for future kind of that's projected out. If you plan to pay it in the future, it'll give you that. Now that lien payoff is for informational purposes only. So you have to go through the actual like pay off my lien process in order to get the accurate figure. The next option is our corporate lien certificate request. So if you're not familiar with a corporate lien certificate, it is a document that's issued by the department which reflects corporation tax liabilities for the named entity. A lien certificate is not a substitute for a corporate tax clearance or a bulk sale clearance certificate. However, if this is something that you need to acquire, please be aware that there's a $2 fee associated with it, which does still need to be mailed into the department. I know that sounds silly. From what I understand, we explored the option to make that $2 fee be able to be submitted via ACH, but the cost far outweighed just asking customers to send the $2 into the department. And then the last option here is to respond to a contact information needed notice. If the department needs like a valid phone number or address for you, they may send out a letter it's called a contact information needed notice. And in which case it will instruct you to come to MyPath and you would click that link to provide us with the missing information. And then lastly, we have our Learn More panel. So this panel here has links for all of the resources that we'll go over near the end of this presentation. But the first one is MyPath video tutorials, or Revenue 411 videos, you'll hear me call them. Basically, they are step-by-step instructional videos for most of the transactions that you're going to try to do in MyPath. So if you're stuck, if you don't remember what I'm telling you today, if you need help walking through a process, please go out and check that out to see if there is a video out there. The next link is Customer Service Center. That takes you directly to our online Customer Service Center, where you can view thousands of frequently asked questions. We also have a link here for our tax forms and instructions. It'll take you right to that section of our website. And then finally, contact us is exactly what it sounds like. Contact information, including phone numbers, district office information, mailing addresses, and more. All right, so that was everything you can do without creating a user profile. Let's talk about some logged in functionality that's available through MyPath. As I mentioned, most business tax functions are only available to logged in customers. So the first thing that you need to do is go out there and create a primary user profile. From that MyPath homepage, you'll navigate to the black login box in the top right-hand corner, and you're going to click Sign Up. From there, you'll see a screen that shows you what you can do without signing up. It'll also tell you what additional options are available when you do sign up, and then it gives you criteria that you need to successfully create your profile. From this page, you're either going to click that Sign Up for MyPath from the bottom, or you're going to click the Next button. Next, you're going to get the electronic correspondence and communications agreement. We're asking that you read through the terms and conditions and then click the box saying that you agree at the bottom and click Next. Here, you're going to need to fill in your profile information, your phone number information, and then select No to being a third-party tax professional in that identification panel. So selecting yes is going to create a third-party user profile, which is for those like CPAs and other tax professionals. And then if you select no, you're going to end up with a primary user profile, which I believe is going to be what most of you are looking for. After selecting no, it's going to ask you to choose an identification type. And you'll have the option to choose from a federal EIN, your PATH ID, revenue ID, or social security number. I would assume that most often new business owners are going to be selecting FEIN or SSN. So in our example here, we're just going to select FEIN. And then once you've selected your federal employer ID from the dropdown and you enter the appropriate ID number on the line provided, you'll need to enter the business name exactly as it is for the department's records. As a word of advice, this should be the legal name of the business. So I believe eTides was driven by the doing business as or the DBA name. That is not the case for MyPath. Additionally, if the entity is a sole proprietor, you simply enter the last name on that line. Just make sure that you don't check the box stating that you are a present or that you represent a financial institution reporting inheritance tax unless it truly is the case, and then click Next to proceed. The next screen that you're presented with is the account validation. So here you'll need to choose the account type that you're trying to gain access to. One thing to keep in mind about MyPath is that everything is driven by tax type. So you need to add access to each tax account that you have, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. If you have more than one tax account, select the one that you are able to easily validate to get started. So what I'm talking about here is if you have a sales tax account and an employer withholding account, you're going to just select one to start setting up your user profile, and then you're going to add access to the other tax accounts. For our example here, we requested corporate net income tax, and then you're going to see it asks for an account validation method. The validation methods include a letter ID, online business registration confirmation number, payment amount, or return line item. If you cannot validate using the methods outlined, you'll need to request an access in order to gain access to your tax account. For our example, we selected return line item, and we entered the exact amount on the line provided. After completing the necessary fields, MyPath will ask you if you'd like to opt in for electronic mail delivery. Choose the option that you'd like, and then hit submit at the bottom of the screen. Once that's done, you'll receive a confirmation screen that advises you to now log in with your new username and password. So once you click OK on that confirmation screen, it's going to take you right back to the home page. That black login box, you're going to enter the username and password that you just selected and click login. The first time that you do that, you're going to have to set up your two-step verification. So basically, two-step verification is an extra layer of security to make sure nobody else is gaining access to your tax account. We send a security code out to you via one of the methods on the screen. There is an authentication app, text message, or email. For our example, we're going to use text message. And then you're going to enter the phone number that you want your authentication code sent to and hit save. For those of you who do select text message, it does not have to be the same phone number that you use to set up your profile. So if you are truly setting up a business profile and you used your business phone number for creating the profile, but you want this confirmation code to come to your cell phone, you can absolutely do that. They do not have to be the same number. Once you've entered that number in, you should receive a confirmation code right away. Enter it on the security code line and hit confirm. Then you're going to be brought to a new screen that asks you to kind of finish setting up your user profile. So here you're going to need to enter your first and last name, as well as select a secret question and answer. Additionally, you'll have the option to add a secondary phone number or set up due date reminders. Those last two options are not required. You will have the ability to do that later if you should wish. So entirely up to you if you do it now, and then click save at the bottom of the screen. Once you click save, you'll be logged into your user profile and you'll immediately default to what we call the summary tab. So if you look in the top right-hand corner of that screen, you can see summary is kind of bold, navy blue up there. You're sitting on the summary tab and you can see that tax account that you validated. Remember that in my example, we chose corporate net income tax, so that's why you can see all of those details. But underneath it, you can see any other tax accounts that my identification number is associated with. However, there is a little hyperlink that says add access to this account. It is very important that you click that hyperlink for each of your additional tax accounts in order for you to gain those full details for every single tax account that you have. Once you've clicked that add access, it's going to ask you to choose the type of access or the access level that you want for each additional tax account. File returns and make payments are always going to be your highest level of access. So I personally recommend that you choose this if you are the primary account owner so that you can do whatever you want essentially. It does generally default to that highest level of access. So if you just go in and click save each time, you should not have any issues. Please keep in mind that you will need to add access to license accounts as well. So if you're adding access to something like a sales tax license, you'll only have view only because it's just that license account. Everything else is done under the actual sales use and hotel occupancy tax account, and that should have the file returns access. So once you click save, those tax types will be added to your summary account. I know that was a lot. I promise there are Revenue 411 videos and additional guidance on our website, but I just kind of wanted to quickly walk you through all that so that you were at least seeing it one time if you had any questions. One of the most important features that are available as a logged in user is requesting a statement of account, especially when it comes to business taxes. We strongly recommend that you are reconciling your records with the department records on a regular basis, just to make sure that we are all in agreement and it is reflecting the way that it should be. So once you're logged into your user profile and you're defaulted to that summary tab, the first thing you're going to do is click the More tab at the top of the screen. So you can see I have a red box around the More ... Once you click that, you want to find the Accounts panel. So top left-hand corner, Accounts panel, and then you're going to click that hyperlink that says Request Statements of Account. The next screen is going to allow you to select whatever tax accounts that you want a statement of account for. So if you want a statement of account for more than one tax type, like in our example, we're going to request corporate net income tax and the withholding account, select whatever ones you want and then hit submit. You will then receive a confirmation screen letting you know that your statements are available in the letters section of your profile. So what you did was you just generated the notice. If you click OK, it'll take you back out to where you were just at, find the letters panel, and then click on the hyperlink that says View Letters. From there, you're going to see all of the detailed statement of accounts that you requested. And yes, each tax type is going to come through as its own statement. So you can see here we have sales and use tax, employer withholding, and corporate net income tax as 3 separate statements. So once you click on that bolded hyperlink, you're going to actually get your statement of account in a PDF version, which you can either save to your desktop or print. I will proactively tell you all that the department is working on adding more details to these statement of accounts. So currently they do show the last 3 years and anything that has a non-filed return or a liability on. So we're working on getting you a more holistic view of your entire tax account. So hopefully you see some good enhancements coming in the future. Navigating to the summary screen or navigating the summary screen is something that I just added right before this presentation, because I think if you are managing your business tax accounts, it is very important that you understand what's out there. Because the statement of accounts might not show you all the details that you are looking for, it is important to know that there's a lot of information available at your fingertips. So again, if you're on that summary tab, top right hand or top left hand corner, it says summary. You can see your tax account. There's the option to make a payment right from this screen. You can view your returns and periods right from this screen. You can file your returns right from this screen. So I wanted to pull up employer withholding because I'm hoping that's something that applies to a lot of you. You can see here for my employer withholding tax accounts, and don't be concerned, these are all fake accounts. But there is the option to make a deposit period payment, which was previously your 501 coupon payment. You also have the option to file now. You can make a payment, cancel your tax account, withholding tax file upload, or view returns and periods. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into that view returns and periods. Once you click on that, you'll default to the returns tab. You can see here that it quickly shows you what returns need to be filed, what returns were filed late. You can actually go in and pull up the return. And then if you click, or at the top, it shows you the liability that's due. And if you click your periods tab, Again, all of the information you need right at your fingertips. It tells you if you have returns that are due, if you have balances that are due, if you had any overpayments or credits sitting out there, it would show you that as well. You can see the liability at the top of the screen. You can see there's a button at the top of the screen to make a payment. If you had an overpayment, there would be a button at the top of the screen that allows you to request a refund. So a lot of stuff that you can do right here from this View Returns and Periods screen. The next probably most important feature that we have available to logged in users is sending a message to the department. So when you are on that More tab at the top, there is a panel that's titled Messages. From the Messages panel, there is a hyperlink that says Send a Message. And then once you click that, it's going to ask you what customer you want to send the message in regards to, or you can say it doesn't concern a specific individual or business. From there, you're going to tell us what tax type your message is regarding, and you can drill down as far as to what period. So the more details that you select when going in there, it's going to post that message directly to your account. And you can upload attachments through this feature as well. One thing I would say is do not use this as a substitution for that responding to a letter. So if you did receive a letter from the department requesting additional information, make sure that you're going in right from the user profile and responding to the letter. But if you have an issue and you're saying, hey, I looked at my statement of account, this doesn't line up with what I'm seeing, and then you want to send a message to us and send supporting documentation, definitely take advantage of this send a message feature. It gets it posted right where it needs to be. We know exactly what we're looking at. So again, you're going to fill in your subject line, fill in your message. You can include any attachments and click submit. So to include the attachments, you're just going to hit that little add button at the bottom of the screen. I wanted to highlight that because a lot of people do miss that, and then hit submit. You're going to get a confirmation that your message has been sent. And when we respond to you, you're going to get a notification saying that there is a message out there for you to view. I think one of the last ones that I wanted to highlight real quick was requesting a payment plan. So once logged into your homepage, you would go to the Payments and Returns panel. From there, you would select the Request a Payment Plan hyperlink. You're going to read through those terms and conditions. If you agree, click Next. If you're not eligible for a payment plan, you're going to receive an error message explaining that you're not able to set up a payment plan at this time, and it's going to tell you why. Some reasons might include that there's no balances that would qualify for a payment plan, if there's already a payment plan in place, if you're in bankruptcy status, or if there's returns that are missing past their filing due date. There's several different reasons that could make you ineligible for a payment plan. If you are eligible, it would ask you to fill in your bank account information. So this includes your bank account type, your routing number, and your account number. If any of your balances at the bottom of the screen have a no under the in collections column, only a 6-month or less payment plan can be submitted. If all of the indicators show yes in the collections column and the total of your balances is less than $50,000, a payment plan can be established for up to 24 months. If your total balance is over $50,000, regardless of a yes or no status, you will only have the option of a 3-month repayment plan. In MyPath, the down payment is optional. It will not count as being the first installment. So your first installment when you set up a payment plan has to be made within 30 days. If you do opt in to do a down payment, the system will still ask that you select a date within 30 days for your first installment. You'll then need to put in the number of payments that you're looking to make. Please note that you will receive an error if you are not able to continue, or if you don't select an installment date within 30 days. So since the balance that I'm requesting a payment plan for is under 41,000 and I had a yes indicator for collections, I am able to set up a payment plan for the maximum amount of 24 months. if I would type in 25, this is what that error message looks like. And then I'd have to go back and make the adjustment. If I absolutely cannot do it in 24 months, it's basically telling me that I could potentially request an extended payment plan. And you'll see that there is a hyperlink for that information. Once I click that hyperlink, it's going to give you information for contacting the Customer Experience Center regarding setting up a longer payment plan. All right, so if you're not setting up a payment plan outside the department standard options, you will then need to confirm the previously entered information and review the payment plan schedule that is automatically generated based on the information that you provided. You'll also need to select yes or no if you would like to receive notices regarding the payment plan, and then confirm that you agree to the conditions and hit submit. Here you're going to receive a confirmation number. Make sure that you read through the wording in the confirmation statement. Any payment plan that is submitted that's longer than 12 months will have to be reviewed by the payment plan unit and see if it's approved first. If the payment plan is denied or there are any questions, somebody from the payment plan unit will contact you. So real quick before we go into resources, I do want to kind of highlight this feedback option here. Anytime that you complete a transaction in MyPath, you're going to have the option to submit feedback to us. We as a department do actually look at this feedback and we use that for trying to make enhancements to the system. So if you are doing something through MyPath and it seems extremely difficult, or maybe you did use eTides before and you're looking for that option in MyPath, but it just doesn't seem to be there, please provide that feedback to us because we will definitely take it to the project team and see if we can make an enhancement. So I'd just like to point that out, that we are truly looking at that. We do truly have a team of individuals dedicated to enhancing this system, and we do want to make it as user-friendly as possible. So again, take advantage of our feedback option. All right, and then on to some resources. We do have tax update newsletter, so it's a bi-monthly e-newsletter that the department sends out. We do post the most updated information in our tax update newsletters. So if you are somebody who interacts with the Department of Revenue or you want to stay up to date on any tax changes or system changes, we recommend that you sign up for this. You can sign up by visiting our website and then clicking on the Register Now link under the Sign Up for Updates. We also have a MyPath information page out there. So we've created a URL, which is revenue.pa.gov, and then /MyPath information, which we're trying to keep updated with anything new or relevant to MyPath. So again, definitely check that out if you are having any issues or you're trying to see if something's changed with MyPath. As I mentioned several times, we are creating what we call Revenue 411 videos. There are several, I think there's about 50 videos out there right now that help you to navigate through MyPath, and they truly are step by step. So we truly are walking through kind of like I did with the PowerPoint presentation, but go here, click here, you're going to get this message. This is what you need to do. We're trying to make it as painless as possible for using this new system. Take a look at what videos we have out there. Again, very easy URL to remember, revenue.pa.gov /videos. You can also find the videos. There is a icon down the gray icon belt in the middle of our web page that says videos. If you click on that, it'll take you right to this page as well. We are in the process of creating some new videos, so this will be ever changing, but we're also going to start making like tax related videos or talk about some of our legislative updates. So it will expand beyond just navigating through MyPath at some point. Pathfinder is another great resource for MyPath information. So for those of you who don't know, we do have a chatbot feature that you can access anytime you're using MyPath. So regardless of what screen you're on, top right-hand corner, you're going to see this little icon. And you can go in there and ask questions and it will give you some prompted answers. I do want to highlight that this is genuinely a virtual assistant, so there is no live representative at the end of that. You can't just keep typing in agent and hope that somebody is going to, like a live representative is going to answer you, because it's not going to happen. But we are constantly in there making updates to Pathfinder and trying to keep the information relevant and helpful to you. So it should be a good resource for you to use. If for some reason you need to contact the department, maybe the resources that I highlighted are not helping you and you need to actually talk to somebody about your MyPath account, we do have a MyPath assistance line, which is 717-425-2495, extension 72841. So this goes directly to individuals trained to use MyPath or help you navigate through MyPath. What I would like to recommend here is, if you are calling in to speak to a representative, once you get them on the line, make sure that you are giving them the support ID. So top right-hand corner, right next to that Pathfinder chatbot icon, there is a little blue circle with a white question mark in it. Once you click that, the drop-down box is going to say view support ID. If you click that hyperlink, you're going to get the message that's shown on the screen that says a support ID can be given to a support person to allow them to remotely view your MyPath session. If you click yes there, you're going to get a little code, and our representatives can actually remote into and see what you're doing in MyPath. So they can kind of see what you've clicked, kind of where you're struggling, and directly or direct you to the right point to take care of whatever you're trying to do in MyPath. So a great feature, very helpful for both us and our customers. I would wait until you have an agent on the phone though before you do click that button, because I think it expires after a certain period of time. All right, looks like it's about 12:56 right now, and the ladies have done a great job at answering your questions. So we have a little bit of time if there are any remaining questions out there.
Well, while we let them think about questions, I'm going to go ahead and start the one question poll that we do at the end of each one of these sessions. And as a reminder, first of all, thank you, Alicia. This was great information. We really appreciate your time and your team's time. Been great. As a reminder, we will be sending out the recording today, the slides, and then any additional resources that that's been identified. So let's see here.
You're right. I didn't really know the difference, to be honest.
There's one in the chat. If you sell a product that is not taxable, how does that look when you file? Are you required to pay?
I think we'll probably answer that one offline if that's okay, Cindy.
Sure. Be great.
So I do see Heather Evans has a question out there saying she signed up. It was a few weeks ago. She got a letter saying it was approved, but she's in her business one-stop shop account. So Heather, I would just ask for some clarifying information. Whereas we are associated with the business one-stop shop, signing up for registration through MyPath is truly registering those business tax accounts. So I just don't want to be confused between two different things that you might be trying to do there. Sandy, looks like you asked a question of, does your tax professional have access to your entire profile? So if your tax professional is able to properly validate your account, they will pretty much have the same access as a primary user. They'll be able to view, file, pay, take care of anything they need to. Please keep in mind that they do have to request access per tax type. So whereas with that primary user profile, it kind of popped up with your tax accounts that are associated. If you remember, I validated corporate net income tax, and then I had to add access to those other tax accounts. That does not happen for a third-party user. They have to actually go in, request access to your corporate net income tax account, request access to your sales tax account, request access to your employer withholding account. So if you do have somebody who maybe handles your sales tax and somebody else who handles employer withholding, you don't have to worry about those individuals seeing everything if they only handle a specific tax type. Hopefully that clarified your question.
Another quick reminder. Next month on October 11th, we will be having Pennsylvania Taxes for New Businesses webinar. On November 8th, we'll have the Sales Tax Basics webinar. And on December 13th, we will have the Withholding Basics webinar.
I
And then
will s-
also, go
Sorry,
ahead,
go ahead.
go ahead, Alicia.
Sorry, Cindy. While I was presenting, I saw a lot of people who were asking, like, if I have a tax accountant, do I need to do any of this? Pretty much everything I talked about today was in regards to setting up a primary user profile or self-servicing, like kind of navigating through the account on your own. If you have an accountant who handles everything for you, as long as they can properly validate the account, you don't have to go in and sign up for MyPath profile.
That way then. That's right.
Great, thanks for that clarification. Following today's webinar, you will be receiving an email from the Small Business Development Center asking for your feedback so we'll be asking you to complete a survey. The survey talks about today's webinar, but it also talks about some other things, just to get your general feedback in the types of topics and timing of what you're looking for training. And then Sandy, where do you sign up for future webinars? I will be actually sending you the flyer with the links to the upcoming webinars. So you will have that. You'll be able to register online just like you registered for this one. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to stop the recording